Hey fangirls and boys, this is Natalie and you're watching Whole Lotta Love, and today's video is a trying new products video. So I have some products here. Some of this is going to be like a first impression and some of it's going to be things that I've tried a couple of times that are kind of new to the market that I'm excited about and kind of want to give my thoughts on. So the first thing I have here, which I do first impression in the video, is the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice Palette. I also have the First Aid Beauty Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer. I also have the Urban Decay Naked Cherry Highlight and Blush Palette. I also have the Supreme Frost Highlighter in the shade Wetdream by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. And I'll give a spoiler, I absolutely love this. This is incredible. And also from Jeffree Star, I have the lip liners in the shade Allegedly and Red Rum. I'm going to use the shade Allegedly in the video. And finally, I have the new Powder Kiss lipsticks by MAC Cosmetics. Anyway, if you are interested in seeing me try out some new products and just seeing some fun new hyped up products around the market and just seeing how they perform, then keep on watching. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I didn't have a new foundation or brow products to try, so I did my foundation, I did my brows, I also primed my lids, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the new Too Faced Gingerbread Spice Palette. So I know this palette has been out for a while now, maybe like a month and a half or so. I have not tried this yet. I ordered mine at Ulta soon after it came out. I wanted to use it in a video, I just wasn't sure how, so I figured a try new products video would be just fine. So I haven't really even swatched these, so this is what the palette looks like. I'm sure you guys all know. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's just like a nice cranberry, purpley, plummy, warm tone kind of palette. So you have a few orangey shades, but mostly just like pinky, cranberry kind of shades and a couple of other things going on. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And I feel like the smell is kind of dissipated a lot. It has like a little bit of like a vanilla-y kind of smell. I don't think it's like too gingerbready. It's not really like a spicy scent, but it's very, very light. Again, I've had this palette for about a month. I haven't really dug into it though, so I think the scent fades pretty quickly. So I'm gonna just go ahead and go into the shade Powdered Sugar over here. And I am using a Vintage Cosmetics Company Step 1 for the Money brush. And I'm just gonna set down the primer on my lids. I am going to use this shade over here, Gingerbread Latte, as a transition shade. I am going to use my Royal Line Nickel Omnia BOM 45 crease brush. This is just a fluffy crease brush, and I am going to use this as my transition. It's a little bit deeper than I would normally go for a transition, but the next lightest shade is this Look at My Cookie, which is like more peachy than I think I want to go. I want to kind of keep it warm and browny kind of. So I'm just going to use this in above my crease and just try to blow it out. There is a little bit of kick up in the pan, nothing too crazy, and it seems to be blending out pretty well on my eye. Just cleaning up my right eye a little bit with that Powdered Sugar shade on my brow bone. And on the outer, just kind of buff and erase a little bit. So I'm going to switch over to an Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics smaller tapered blending brush, and I am going to mix between two different shades for my actual crease. I'm going to go into the shade Spices Nice here, which is this rusty orangey warm tone kind of shade, and also the shade Gingerbread, which is more just like a warm tone brownie kind of shade. So I'm just going to kind of dip between those two shades, dust off a little bit of the excess, and just go in my natural crease. So these shades are definitely a little bit powdery. So I'm just gonna try to blend out the edges a little bit with my fluffier blending brush. You can see there's like kind of like this pickup, and I notice this sometimes with certain eyeshadows. I used to think it was me, but the more I play with makeup these days, I'm kind of seeing that there is like, it's almost like a fallout kind of situation, but since I'm trying to like blend out, it's just kind of going in a weird spot on my eye. It's not quite making a nice shape. It looks kind of messy. I'm not loving that too much. And these shades are like mid-tone pigmented. They're not like super richly pigmented. I'm not getting a lot of intense warmth. Maybe if I just gone in with Spices Nice without the gingerbread, it'd be a little bit more intense, but this is what I have working on the crease so far. I'm gonna just try to really clean this up. Like I'm just playing here. I don't want to get too super crazy. I might just go a little bit back in that outer corner with just Spices Nice, just to add a little more pigment there. So this is the crease kind of done. I am going to go in and cut the crease. I want to do like a 3/4 cut crease, kind of a little more than a half, because there are a lot of really gorgeous shimmers in this palette and I want to play with those on my lid over some concealer. So I'm going to use this First Aid Beauty Hello Fab Bendy Avocado Concealer. I have the shade number 2 in this, and I've used this a couple of times. It's a pretty liquidy concealer. It's pretty decent. It's just like kind of liquidy, and I'm not sure how I feel about the shade, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut the crease over here. I wouldn't say it's the ideal concealer to cut the crease with either. I'd like something a little more creamy and a little less liquidy, but it'll do. And I'm using an Alamar Cosmetics small flat concealer brush to do this. So that is my creases cut. I am gonna go back to my Vintage Cosmetics Company Step 1 for the Money brush, and I am gonna go into this shade over here called Warm and Toasty. It is just like this like bronzy yellowy gold kind of shade. It's really pretty. So I'm gonna take this on like the first inner part of my lid, just a little bit. So that is the shade Warm and Toasty on the inner part of my lid. It looks pretty, it's popping pretty nicely. I like that tone a lot. So the next shade I'm gonna go into is this shade Spice of Life over here. It's kind of like a bronzy olive kind of shade. So this is gonna go in the center of the lid. I don't want to drag it too far. I kind of just want to keep it right at the center, the very center of my lid. So that's a pretty shade too. You can see it there. I'm going to blend out a little bit more in a second, but you can see that shade there. So I have a little tiny bit of bare concealer left. I'm going to go into the shade Hot Toddy. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's like the cranberry metallic. And I'll go back into Spice of Life a little and just kind of merge those two shades together. So with no additional product, I'm just going to try to merge that golden shade, the Warm and Toasty, with Spice of Life a little bit better. I want that to be a little more blended in the inner part. So yeah, when you're doing eyeshadow, you could really just kind of go back and forth between the shades until you have the desired effect. A lot of tutorials make it seem like it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, which it is, but you're kind of going back and forth between the steps a little bit too, just to get a desired effect. So you don't have to feel bad if you haven't reached your desired effect right away. You can kind of, and you've moved on to your next step, you can kind of go back. Or if you think the next step kind of messed up the step before, you can always try to fix and correct a little bit. So that is the 3 metallic shades merged on my lid. I think that that looks really pretty. I really like all of those metallics a lot. I feel like I'll do a couple of little swatches here and then a couple that I didn't use. Like you could see, like those colors are really just like rich and warm and really, really pretty. So I am going to continue on. I have the MAC 219 pencil brush, and I'm just gonna go into the shade Spiced Eggnog over here. It's just like a champagne-y kind of shade. And I'm just gonna pop that in my inner corner a little bit, just to add even more lightness, because I went with the shade Warm Up Toasted, and that's not really like a brightening inner corner shade. So I'm just gonna add a little tiny bit of this spiked eggnog. Is that what it's called? So that is spiked eggnog on the inner corners. I think that is starting to come together. It's looking a little messy on the outers, and I just want to, you know, kind of keep going through the steps until I get everything together. So I'm gonna go into the shade Reindeer Paws. This is like I'm not sure how to describe the shade. It's like, it kind of has like a little bit of purpliness to it. It's like a deep purpley brown kind of shade. So I'm just going into that and I'm tapping off the excess. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this, like really on the outer, just a tiny little bit, kind of next to where I have Hot Toddy, and just like create a little bit of depth right there. Okay, I have created a little more depth in my outer V with that shade Reindeer Paws. I do have a lot of fallout now that I've worked with all these shadows. I do have like a lot of fallout on this eye in particular. Yeah, I have it on both eyes actually, which is annoying because I do have foundation on, but I'll clean that up with concealer. I'm just gonna brush a little bit of that away so I'm not going right over top of that with concealer, just the excess right there. I think once I clean this up, things will be getting a lot better for me. So I'm gonna take my First Aid Beauty concealer, and I am just going to conceal under my eyes with this. And just really clean up all this messiness going on the outer portion of my lid. So I feel like this concealer is super trendy. I've used it a couple of times, as I mentioned, and I do like it. It's decent. It's very, very liquidy. And I'm just not crazy about the shade I chose. I chose shade number 2. I didn't feel like they had a really extensive shade range. And I just feel like this is more like my natural skin tone than something that's brightening. I like to use something typically brightening for my under eyes. It's just not my favorite tone. But I do kind of like the liquidiness of it. I feel like it's like a nice thin formula. It's not something that's too heavy. And the look of it's nice. It's not too dewy. It's not too matte. Might get like a tiny bit crepey under my eyes, but nothing too serious. I am going to add a little bit of glitter. I'm going to create like a little bit of glitter liner above the half cut crease just to jazz this look up a little bit more. I have the Urban Decay Starfire Heavy Metal Glitter Eyeliner. So they put out a trio of these with their holiday collection. I thought that was really, really cool. They're like 3 full-sized heavy metal glitter liners and 2 new shades. There was this shade, which is new with the Starfire one, and I think this was the name of the set, and then they also had one called Volume, which was more pinky. And I really wanted this set because they had Midnight Cowboy, which was just like a light pale gold that's like really iconic for the Urban Decay line, especially in this glitter liner formula. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and just put it right above where I cut the crease, the half cut crease. I'm just gonna kind of massage back and forth on the edges of that so it doesn't look too harsh. I was more excited about this than I was before their Elements palette. I think that's what it's called. It's like that one in a circle. I thought the packaging was really beautiful, but the shades were very typical for Urban Decay. So I don't think I'm gonna get that palette unless it goes on like a good sale. But I was super excited for this set of heavy metal glitter liners. So that is the eye with that little bit of glitter liner above the half cut crease. I like this. It's kind of like a It's like a little bit of like a coppery shade, I guess. And I just think that's pretty because it kind of goes with a lot of these like warm tone looks. It doesn't really look too stark and contrasty. It just adds like a nice little bit of pop to the look. It blends in pretty well. So I'm gonna use, for my mascara, I'm gonna use the Milk Makeup Kush mascara. So I've had this for a while. This isn't new to me and it's been out for a while. I think this is a decent mascara. It's not incredible. Like it kind of gets a little messy and a little flaky underneath my eyes for my liking. I feel like so many beauty gurus are like pushing this. I honestly almost feel like it was like a secret sponsorship. Because everybody's like, oh my god, this is the best mascara I've ever used. I stopped using everything else. And it's okay. To me, it's just not blowing my mind. I really prefer like the IT Cosmetics Superhero. I think that one is really gives you a false lash effect. It really intensifies the length and volume of your eyes, of your lashes. The Ciate Wonder Wand is really volumizing and really nice, similar to the Double Decker Lashes by Butter London. Those mascaras I think are really incredible. This one is kind of like just like a step below those. It's good, it's not great to me. At least the Ciate and the Butter London ones are a lot less flaky than this one. So that is the mascara on my top lashes. I'm gonna go back to my MAC 219 brush and I'm gonna go into the shade Gumdrop. I'm gonna finish off my lower lash line. It's like that hot pink shade in the palette. It's a matte. So I'm just gonna put this on my lower lash line. So that is the shade Gumdrop on my lower lash line. I think that went on pretty nicely. There's like a nice amount of pigment on there. I didn't get like some crumbly fallout on my face. I'm just gonna buff that out a little bit with my smaller tapered blending brush. I am going to finish my eyes with mascara on the bottom lashes. So those are the eyes done. Ultimately, I do think they look really pretty. I did use a lot of colors, but I feel like everything blended pretty nicely and it's just giving like a nice shimmery warm tone effect. It doesn't look too crazy colorful with just like a nice little pop on the lower lash line. So I am happy with that. The blending situation was not ideal for me with the shades Spices Nice and Gingerbread. I feel like they were very powdery and they had given a lot of fallout. So I was a little bit disappointed with those, but I think the overall look came out nice. I'm gonna do my blush and I have the new Urban Decay Naked Cherry Highlight and Blush palette for this. So I'm really just gonna dip into that center shade, that blush shade. It looks really pretty. That's what drew me to this palette. It's kind of like a cherry, deeper, corally pink kind of shade, I guess. Not really pink, I don't know. But I'm just gonna put this on my cheeks. So this is the blush so far. It's a pretty intense color of blush. I'm just really trying to buff it out. I feel like my blush always does look pretty intense when I apply it on camera, but I think when the look is done, it won't be too bad. I'm just gonna go over that with my beauty blender a little just to dull it out a little because there's like a slight bit of product on there. And for my blush, I'm using a Royal Line Nickel Omnia brush. I'm using the Bjorn 34. So that is my blush. Now I'm gonna dip into a really exciting product here. I have the Jeffree Star Supreme Frost Highlighting Powder. I have the shade Wetdream. So I tried this for the first time today, and I'm gonna try it again because I like to just do my makeup 100 times a day. And this is what the packaging looks like. It's like this really beautiful pink chrome. It has this cool like Jeffree Star Cosmetics writing on the inside, and this is what it looks like. It has a star with like little stars in it. It is absolutely gorgeous. So that's it like swatched out on my hand. And it is a super glittery highlight. So I think it was definitely billed as like a super glittery highlight. And it's it's like, I guess they say it's like a baked jelly. It definitely has that look in the pan, but like it picks up pretty nicely. It's almost like a little bit powdery, which I think is like a good thing for a glitter. I don't like when glitters or even highlights are just like hard to pick up on the brush because I feel like you hit hard pan a lot. So when they're like a little bit looser and they pick up really easily on the brush, I definitely prefer that. And I think for a glitter formula, that's like really necessary to kind of like pick it up and blend it out the way it needs to be blended out. So I am going to use a Cosetti S140 brush to put on this highlight. And there was another shade I was looking at, Snow Globe. This one looked kind of like it had like multi-tonal glitters in it in the store. Now that I have it at home, I don't really think it does, this Wetdream shade. I think Snow Globe might have been a little nicer. This one is like borderline too dark for my skin tone. I could pull it off. I think it's fine. It's like kind of like a gold shade. Like a champagne-y gold, which is fine. But that other shade was like, I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was like a little more pink, but like a warm tone pink, and I think that one was just like a little bit lighter, so I'll probably get that one too. Like I don't always like to rock the gold highlight, but so that's what the highlight looks like on my cheeks. I feel like this formula is very similar to the Kat Von D Metal Crush formula. I feel like the glitter kind of packs on a little more densely with this one. I feel like I might prefer this. Actually, I don't even want to say that because I'm like so in love with those Kat Von D heavy metal line, those Kat Von D Metal Crush highlighters. This one I'm just, I guess, excited because I just got it. But I think it's super pretty. It's very glittery. It kind of has like, I have to like really blend it out. It has like more of like, it's like a little more pigmented in a way where you're kind of getting that glitter, but you're also getting like a little more of like a base color, like a little more metallicness. It's not just pure glitter, it's like both. I think that that looks so, so gorgeous. See, it's like kind of striping out. That always happens to me though. I just have to keep blending it and just kind of deal with it. I just think that's so, so beautiful. I also got the Jeffree Star lip liners. I got the shade Allegedly as well as the shade Red Rum. So this is what the packaging looks like. It's really, really cute. They have like those wand type caps on them. Really unique. So I'm just gonna swatch them. This is the shade Allegedly, right there. I haven't tried these on my lips yet. It seems like creamy enough, not super creamy, which might be a good thing for a liner. And that is the shade Red Rum right next to it, right there. So I think I was lacking like a true red. I mean, I'm definitely actually not lacking it, but I wanted a new true red liner. And I think I like this one too. It's kind of like a bricky muted red liner, the Allegedly shade. So I'm gonna go in with the Allegedly shade on my lips. And these are also eye safe, which I think is really, really cool because I do like to use lip liners on my waterline a lot and I'm not always sure if they're safe. Especially red colors. They don't always make eyeliners in those colors. So that is the Allegedly lip liner on my lips. It felt pretty good. It's a little bit stiffer than some eyeliners that or lip liners that I typically use. But I think that's pretty good. It's a good, not a bad thing, because it's like maybe a little bit easier to control. And it was creamy enough. It wasn't too stiff. It's like a creamier pencil. It's not like one of those super stiff like #2 pencil type of things like that MAC has some of those. But it's a little bit stiff, so it's kind of gonna really keep. I think it'll really keep your lipstick in place, and it's easier to control the line. It doesn't like just glide on really quickly when you're putting it on. You have like that control over it. So I got a couple, to finish off my lips, I got a couple of the MAC Powder Kiss lipsticks. I think these have been kind of hyped too from MAC. So I have two shades here. I have the shade Lasting Passion, which seems absolutely gorgeous. And these are supposed to be like kind of like a sheer but like really powdery matte kind of lipstick, I guess. So this is the shade Lasting Passion. It's like a pink tone kind of red shade. And they definitely do have like a really matte look to them, the bullets. So I'm just gonna swatch this, and the bullet itself is like that really soft touch matte. So I'll just swatch this a little bit. So you can see a swatch right there. You do see that it's sheer, it's not giving full opacity. And I just think that tone is so beautiful. It's like this like pinky red. It just gives like kind of like a really fresh look on the lips. Like if you kind of just want to be like a model off duty with like a pop of color on your lips kind of look. I think this is like a nice easy formula to rock that look with. And then this is the shade called Devoted to Chili. This is like definitely a Natalie shade. It's like just like that bricky red, similar to Allegedly. So that is Devoted to Chili. Swatched out again, sheer. I'm so excited to try this on my lips. This is the one I'm going to use on my lips, the Devoted to Chili. I think that'll go really well with this look because it is kind of like a warm toned, orangey kind of look. I think go really well with the liner. This actually feels pretty creamy on the lips. I was expecting it to feel like a little more powdery on application, but so that is how it looks upon initial application. I think that's really, really pretty. It is like a nice matte kind of shade. It definitely has like a nice light feel to it, kind of like that vanilla scent that MAC lipsticks typically have. I'm gonna blot my lips. I'm gonna go in with one more layer. And blot again for ultimate staying power. So that is the finished lip. I really love how that looks. I feel like it's definitely has like a nice matte, and I love how it looks with the liner because the liner is a little bit deeper. Like you can definitely see the outline of the liner, but the lipstick I think complements it perfectly. And it's definitely a shade that I'm really, really into. So this is the complete look. I really, really like how everything came out. It's like a very nice fall kind of look, I feel like. Just like a really orangey, warm fall look. Anyway, that completes this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a good one. Bye, guys.